Vampire Princess Chapter 2 Episode 9. Right before the decisive battle, editor, crash. The dispute between Imperial Crimson and Amisha Kingdom was decided one-sidedly by the upper echelon of Amisha Kingdom, ignoring processes of mutual criticism, followed up negotiations, behind-the-scenes negotiations, meetings between the concerned parties, or meeting to reach a resolution. It ended up becoming an all-out war in areas connected to Kingdom, the Aquira Plateau, or to be more precise, they don't have any other options. And against that declaration of war, according to their official announcement, their reason to declare war is because Imperial Crimson had sent an A.S.S.S.Sin to end the life of the third prince, Ashel Cloud Amisha. It's something that is substantial enough to proclaim war. Our response is, if you really want war, then we will gladly accept. We will wait patiently until you guys finish your preparations, so anyone who wants to die, come forth. That's the response of Imperial Crimson's queen. Actually, there's someone who wanted to bridge the gap between the two concerned parties, Ara City's guild leader, Collard. He gave a runabout letter that was full of decorative words, but it all ended without negotiations and proceeded to all-out war. Toward that response that ignored international common sense, even Amisha Kingdom can't hide their bewilderment. However, before long at the adjacent Aquira Plateau, a myriad of monsters appeared as if they were falling from the sky. It's plain to see that they're under Imperial Crimson command, thus making them understand that the Queen of Imperial Crimson's words were not exaggerations. And to defeat them, they hurriedly gathered the forces inside their own country, while the Imperial Crimson side kept their word. We will wait patiently until you guys finish your preparations. They didn't make any attacks nor did any looting, but just patiently stood by, and finally the kingdom gathered forces several times greater than their opponent. To break it down, the commander is a member of the House of N.O. Bless, Earl Giovanni Antonio. The army under the direct control of the kingdom is around 5,500 people. The Allied Lord's cavalry is around 3,500 people. Infantry units, consisting of footmen and archers, is around 10,000 people. A mix between mercenaries and adventurers which totaled around 2,500 people. Volunteer soldiers totaled around 12,000 people. Also, their treasured magician corps was 150 people. Clergymen dispatched from the Ian Temple was around 70 people. Also, the trump card of the kingdom, 13 dragoons that were mounted upon wyverns. All in all, it cross over 30,000 by far, and become a giant force that unimaginable in these recent years. They have one common motto: divine punishment towards monsters that killed Prince Ashel Cloud. Then, those guys are heading to battle to avenge Prince Ashel. What do you think, Marudo, visitor from afar sho.r.e? There is an atmosphere that lacks tension, which is unbecoming of the decisive war. From Amisha Kingdom perspective though, since a while ago, they kept playing rock paper scissors to determine who would receive the role of vanguard. Sometimes there's a cheer of joy or a groan of someone who lost. Also, fat bodies fell to the ground. It seriously sounds like an earthquake, so I hope they stop it. Angry voices such as, you threw it later than me, and also I'll use paper. Those kinds of bargaining words can be heard. I asked the one beside me who abstained from it, a man with full plate armor, however without a helmet, but instead a red demon mask, a knight with reddish blonde hair. If the prince heard it, he might weep in happiness. The knight answered in a carefree manner and shrugged his shoulders. Even though he seems like ordinary human, he has bluish-white skin that no human would possess. It is one of my family, a Dracula, blood-sucking knight, Marudo, visitor from afar sho.r.e. How about you? I don't feel anything special. Since right now, I am nothing more than Princess's sword. You're too familiar. Watch your mouth, Marudo. Even though you're the princess's family, you're just a newbie. Hearing the irritated warning from Tenge, Marudo apologized respectfully. My apology, for evil heavenly king's leader, Tenge-sama. Though his attitude was respectful, it's still questionable what expression he had since he wore a mask. Tenge squinted and tried to guess his true colors. I tried to confirm once again. Are you sure this is all right? If you wish for it, I can return you to the same place with your little sister. I can't find my sister there in that world. It seems that she didn't go to the same place as I did. Since that's the case, being close to princess who I respect and love unexpectedly brings me happiness. Of course. It is obvious even if you don't say it. Marudo, it seems your awe and respect towards the princess is still not enough. Though Tenge was snorting, that would also mean that his vigilance toward Marudo was loosening. Sometimes he even showed a tender expression. Marudo once again gave his apology and bowed his head, however when he rose and looked at me, it seems he remembered something and his mouth turned into loose grin. Actually, when I arrived here I thought this place was heaven. To think that the ceremony has that kind of benefit. He touched his yet to dry forelock while saying that. You are. Owa. I, who remembered it, tried to act as if I didn't hear anything and covered both my ears with my hands. Or rather, who the H.E.L.L. proposed that kind of thing as a ceremony. As I entered the bath in preparation of war, my exclusive bath will give me a boost for 30 minutes after I stay submerged for 1 minute, but now it is extended though still retain the 130 portion and can be extended to a max of 48 minutes for a 24 hours boost. Though it can't go beyond that, noisily, and as if it was natural, all the round table members entered the bath. Even Mikoto and Utsuho take their clothes without complaints. Do monsters not have any sense of shame? It seems so. Well, if it was only that then I might still have been able to hold myself. It's still a broad interpretation of going to the bath with your pet. However, this time even Marudo also entered. What was that? I've burned it into my eyes. Soaked with hot water, pink-colored skin, also those pure pink-colored flow-awa. I tried to hit him with all my might while weeping in agony, but he evaded it. TCH, after turning into a vampire his basic stats were doubled, and he became more and more unmanageable. Or rather, his illness became worse. I feel wronged in many ways. And while we were in that kind of mood, guild leader Collard raised his hand timidly. Is it okay for me to talk? Since Tenge took a glance toward me, asking for confirmation, I nodded lightly. Very well. I will permit a direct report to the throne. Even while saying yes, it's really an unattainable happiness. Guild leader Collard C.O.C. Ked his head in confusion. Why am I here, in battleground? Hearing that question, I folded my hands. That's a hard question. Why human beings are born and exist here, every individual has their own answers. No, I don't mean it as philosophical question, why am I, who should have been in Ara City's guild leader room, being kidnapped and brought here? Instinctively I looked toward the kidnapping culprit Tenge. You didn't explain it to him. Of course I mentioned it to him. I said the princess is calling, go quickly. Yup, he didn't explain the reason. Well, sorry for being sudden, I'm thinking of making you this kingdom's king. Understanding the reason, Collard was taken aback. Yup, as always, his reaction is excellent. Nevertheless he's a capable person. After he was incapable of making any comprehensible words for a while, I press for answer. Well, I am a person who doesn't have any interest in ruling or politics, you know. That's why after I end this farce, we need change the current leader, right? So I'm thinking of leaving it to another human to govern. Then, certainly I want to leave it to someone who has experience in ruling, and also has a great sense of balance like guild leader Collard. There's no way I can do it. He screams with full power. Well, it'll be fine. The current upper echelon is a group of stupid people who tried to bluff and quarrel with me, you know? Either they can't see ahead because of their stupid greed, or because they feel superior, which makes them look down on others and unable to see the bigger picture. If they're compared to you, you're still a million times better. I don't know whether it's really praise, but I still think it's impossible. I don't know anything about national politics. Guild leader Collard sighed, and shook his head. National politics is about domestic affairs and external affairs, right? For external affairs we'll use our glare, so there's no country that will invade. Well, for argument's sake, if they do invade we'll crush them though. For domestic affairs, you can leave it to office workers and they'll somehow make do, right? For human management we won't meddle much, so you can do as you please. Won't it be like a man's dream, being king of the whole country? I'll also let Marudo help you, he will be useful. Toward the saluting Marudo who gave his greeting, guild leader Collard showed a suspicious look. However, it seems like he noticed something and his eyes got wider and wider, almost as if they would roll out from their sockets. And with a trembling hand, he pointed at Marudo. No, way, Your Highness Prince A. You must be mistaken. I am the faithful manservant of the princess, Marudo, traveler from afar sho.r.e. Well, therefore, please treat me favorably, Your Majesty the King. As Marudo patted him on the shoulder, Guild leader Collard's face looked as if his soul was taken out. Didn't I tell you already, this is a farce? While I shrugged my shoulders, there's movement in the enemy army. From the enemy lines, 10 wyverns flew out. Is that the rumored dragoon? At the same time, our grand rock-paper-scissors battle also seems to have been concluded. All right. I win. I am the vanguard. A tiger with 10-meter-long wings, one of the 7 sacred beasts of calamity, the king of tigers Karaz.H.I+, danced in happiness. Actually, I don't really care, but how does he do rock-paper-scissors with that paw? Well then, princess. In this occasion, please bestow upon us your speech. Hearing Tengei's words, everyone's gaze focused on me. Must I say something? What should I do? I am basically a person who only has slight interactions with others, so words that I can use are limited. Well, whatever. Let's use the default phrase I usually use when ordering my pets in the game. Everyone, let's annihilate the enemy that stands before us. Yes. In an instant, the surroundings filled with tension and bloodthirst. Wait, I unconsciously said annihilate. Even if I try to take it back now, I don't think anyone will hear it. They can't take a joke, so perhaps they will seriously annihilate them till not even one soldier remains. It will be fine. That's the job of Mr. Soldier, right? For now, let's prevent their over-enthusiasm from blowing up even the royal capital. By the way, Saint's perfect resurrection can only be used within 30 minutes, that's why it is impossible to be used on the younger sister. For family transformation, other than random factor is quite strong, depending on the time of death and corpse condition, the success rate will vary. Also, in the case it turned into vampire, their movement in daytime will be restricted, unbranded one will has half its status in the daytime. Actually Marudo has plus 30% its past status while at daytime. By the way, burned while receiving sunlit is something that influenced by movies. Even in Bram Stoker novel they can still walk normally under the sun, only their ability reduced to similar to human. Also, it will be explained later, but the current soldier of Imperial Crimson mostly consist of those newly acquired ally from Great Forest, White Dragon Mountain Range, and Ancient Ruin. As from their original member, the Round Table organized named a number of candidates. Also they didn't wait at the battleground, but going and returning to the country repeatedly. In short, commuting army, lel.